never anything cut and dried. It was more like we're gradually just fading away.
Just when we thought the chaos within the Brown family had begun to settle, a shocking revelation shakes the Sister Wives universe to its core. Kody Brown has done the unthinkable. While Robyn battles serious health issues behind closed doors, Kody has rekindled a controversial relationship, one that fans hoped was long buried. And in a move that's raising red flags across the internet, Kody has transferred a valuable piece of property into Aurora Brown's name. Is this a father looking out for his daughter, or something far more complicated? Buckle up, because the drama is spiraling once again, and no one is safe. Kody and Aurora's reconnection, what's really going on? In an unexpected twist straight out of a drama series, Kody Brown and Aurora Brown have found themselves back in the headlines, not for healing wounds or family unity, but for a rekindled connection that many fans are calling deeply unsettling. According to insiders close to the family, Kody and Aurora have grown unexpectedly close over the past few weeks, a closeness that appears to have intensified as Robyn's health reportedly worsens behind the scenes. Let's not forget Aurora is Robyn's daughter from a previous relationship, legally adopted by Kody, but the emotional bond between them has always been complicated. And now, just as Robyn reportedly becomes more fragile, physically and emotionally, Kody has shifted his attention to Aurora in a way that has raised eyebrows. Even among those once close to the family, Kody transfers property. Why now? If the emotional shift wasn't enough, the legal documents now surfacing have thrown gasoline on the fire. A major property, formerly part of the Brown family estate, has now been legally transferred into Aurora's name. Public records confirm that she is now listed as the sole owner. Fans are stunned and theories are spreading fast. Is Kody trying to secure Aurora's financial future? Is this a strategic move, or a sign that the power dynamics within the Brown family have shifted permanently? Or could this be Kody distancing himself from Robyn in ways we weren't supposed to notice? As expected, neither Kody nor Aurora have addressed the situation publicly, but their silence has only deepened the speculation. Fan reactions? This is not normal across social media. Longtime fans of Sister Wives are expressing shock and concern. This is not normal. Something about this feels really off. Robyn is sick, and now Kody is giving away family land to Aurora. Where's the logic? I've been watching this show for 10 years, and this just crossed the line. Whether this move was driven by concern, guilt, control, or something else entirely, it's clear the Brown family is once again caught in a storm of secrets and shifting alliances. Garrison Brown's birthday, a bittersweet day of grief. And if that wasn't enough heartache, April 10th delivered another emotional blow. That day would have marked Garrison Brown's 27th birthday. But instead of celebration, it was a day soaked in sorrow and remembrance. Weeks have passed since Garrison's tragic passing, the result of suicide, yet the pain for his loved ones remains sharp, raw, and fresh. Christine Brown, who helped raise Garrison during their shared years under one roof, posted a deeply emotional message on Instagram. She shared a heartwarming photo of Garrison surrounded by his siblings, Gabe, Hunter, and Savannah. Her caption read, "Happy heavenly birthday, Garrison. Miss you. Thank you for all the wonderful memories we cherish so much." The response from fans was immediate and heartfelt. Many flooded the comments with love, sorrow, and memories of the young man they had come to admire on screen. Garrison was a great guy. This is heartbreaking. He is the glue between the siblings, sending love to the whole Brown family. This must be unbearable. Christine's motherly grief deeper than blood. While Christine was not Garrison's biological mother, she raised him as if he were her own. Back when the Brown family lived together under one roof, trying to portray unity under polygamy, Christine was the stay-at-home mom, often tasked with raising the children while Kody was away, focused on other relationships and other lives. So even though the world labeled her Kody's third wife, Christine was the one who kept the family running. And now, as she mourns Garrison, the grief she carries is a mother's grief, real, deep, and enduring.
I think that he wants to work it out with her. He does. He goes through days where he's frustrated, but then other days he's like, yeah.
Christine Brown has never looked back, only forward. Since the day she walked away from her 27-year-long marriage with Kody Brown, fans have watched in awe as she transformed from a quiet, stay-at-home polygamous wife into a confident, bold, and outspoken woman living on her own terms. The evolution has been nothing short of inspiring. Once seen primarily in the background of the sister wives' household, Christine now stands firmly in the spotlight, and she owns every moment of it. Her journey is marked not just by freedom from a failed marriage, but by a complete rebirth into a new version of herself, one who cooks, travels, builds, inspires, and loves again. And Instagram has become the platform through which she shares that journey. On social media, Christine has embraced her role as a lifestyle influencer with warmth and vulnerability. Her followers, now numbering over 1.5 million, just see perfectly curated posts. They see a woman who is learning, healing, and thriving in real time. From home-cooked meals to workout updates, she opens her life to the public, and in doing so, gives others permission to dream bigger too. One of her most popular recent posts features a simple broccoli and cheese dish, captioned, "These were simple but so delicious." But behind the recipe lies a deeper message, that simple joys are worthy. That reclaiming your identity starts with the little things. And that nourishing yourself physically and emotionally is a powerful act of self-love. In between food content and heartfelt family moments, Christine has opened up about her fitness journey as well. Since leaving Kody, she's dropped over 40 pounds and rediscovered her confidence, health, and energy. Her transformation has inspired countless fans to start working on their own well-being. She frequently shares fitness clips, motivational quotes, and updates on how she and her new husband David are living healthier together. David himself has reportedly lost 25 pounds, thanks in part to Christine's support and healthy habits. In one post that especially resonated with fans, Christine stared into the camera and reminded the world, "You're not broken, you're rebuilding." That simple phrase captured the emotional truth of what so many women feel after ending toxic relationships, acknowledging the pain but focusing on the strength it takes to heal. The Christine we see now is no longer confined to a kitchen or background scene in a reality TV family. She is building businesses. She is carooning an Airbnb venture with David. She is writing a book that's already in pre-sale. And she's using her voice to share more than just recipes. She's offering life lessons. Gone is the woman who once waited quietly for Kody's attention. In her place stands someone fierce, focused, and completely done with the games of the past. It's no wonder so many fans now see Christine as the true heart and soul of the Sister Wives franchise. While Christine's rise has been beautiful to watch, the contrast with Kody and Robyn's decline is impossible to ignore, as Christine blossoms into this new era of self-expression and empowerment. Kody and Robyn remain trapped in the very drama they tried to control for years. Their narrative of spiritual unity, family harmony, and eternal plural marriage has unraveled publicly, and many fans believe it was never real to begin with. In fact, viewers now say the pair pulled off one of the most well-crafted cons in reality TV history, and the receipts. They're hiding in plain sight. Let's begin with Robyn Brown's now infamous entry into the Brown family back in 2010. Introduced as the fourth and final wife, Robyn seemed to arrive with the perfect balance of charm, faith, and vulnerability. The show's early seasons painted her as a soft-spoken, sweet woman who had been through hardship and was ready to embrace the spiritual unity of plural marriage. But it didn't take long for fans and, eventually, the other wives to realize something else was going on. Robyn's now infamous comment about wanting to be Kody's last wife sent shockwaves through the polygamous foundation. What sounded romantic to some was a red flag to others. In a lifestyle built on equality and shared emotional bonds, The phrase last wife carried a chilling implication: permanence for her and disposability for everyone else. Fans argue that Robyn's entrance wasn't about joining a family, it was about quietly dismantling one. Over time, she grew closer to Kody in ways that visibly pushed the other wives out. She cried often. She talked about being misunderstood. She played the victim in every family conflict, even when her decisions appeared to directly harm the balance of the household. As time went on, Christine, Janelle, and Mary each began to feel like they were living on the margins, while Robyn solidified her position in Kody's inner world. By the time Christine left, fans were already calling it what it was: emotional manipulation disguised as humility. But if the emotional isolation was subtle, the financial shifts were much more obvious. After the family's controversial move from Las Vegas to Flagstaff, viewers noticed a disturbing trend, while Janelle and Christine scrambled to afford rent or living space. Robyn moved into a massive, newer, more expensive home, one whose mortgage was somehow covered while others struggled. Christine openly voiced concerns about the unequal distribution of money. Janelle began to confront Kody more directly about fairness and independence. And fans quickly began to believe what the show carefully tiptoed around, that Kody was funneling the majority of family resources into Robyn's comfort hole while pretending it was about spiritual leadership. And then there was My Sister Wife's Closet, the business that was supposed to bring financial independence to the wives. In reality, it became a drain. The boutique failed, never fully launched to its potential, and the only person who seemed consistently invested was Robyn. Worse, many fans now believe that the investment into the venture came directly from the shared family pot, meaning Christine, Janelle, and even Mary may have helped fund a business they had little control over. When it flopped, the loss didn't just affect profits, it deepened the cracks already splintering the family apart. More recently, Robyn faced accusations of spending tens of thousands of dollars on dolls, designer clothing, and online purchases, while the rest of the wives were visibly cutting corners. Many believe this wasn't just personal spending, again, from shared funds. During this time, Robyn and Kody were still preaching about the value of unity, sacrifice, and shared love. But the reality, at least according to fans, was that they were living like a wealthy, exclusive couple using the polygamous structure as a smokescreen. And perhaps the most shocking betrayal of all? Their silent, slow exit from polygamy. One by one, the other wives left or emotionally detached. Christine made her departure official. Janelle separated, prioritizing herself and her children. Mary was slowly pushed out, and what was left? Kody and Robyn alone together, living like a traditional monogamous couple, but still accepting the platform, the fame, and the reality show paycheck that came with the Sister Wives brand. Robyn continued to insist that she loved plural marriage, but actions spoke louder than her words. Her reluctance to share time, her dominance in the family narrative, her children's favored status, all of it pointed to a long-term plan: become Kody's only wife and shut the door behind her. And Kody, he seems to have walked away from his spiritual values the second they stopped working in his favor. Once the loudest voice in defense of plural marriage, he is now silent on why his once proud household has crumbled, except when placing the blame on others. For over a decade, Kody Brown has spoken in riddles, dramatics, and contradictions. Fans remember his infamous quotes not because they were wise, but because they were bizarre. He's called himself the head of the family, then blamed the wives for not letting him lead. He's claimed to cherish unity, then torn it apart with favoritism. He talks like a victim while acting like a king. And now, with only Robyn by his side, the image he fought so hard to maintain is slipping through his fingers. Kody Brown, the once proud husband to Mary, Janelle, and Christine before eventually meeting Robyn, has long been a confusing figure for fans. The man who preached spiritual leadership and family unity often left viewers, and even his own wives, scratching their heads, not just because of his behavior, but because of how he expressed himself. Kody didn't just speak, he spun. His words often twisted through contradictions and exaggerated analogies, creating a language all his own. Even his family coined it, speaking Kody. It was equal parts baffling and bizarre, humorous and heartbreaking. As the series dragged into its 19th season, fans could recite his oddest phrases by heart, not because they made sense, but because they revealed something deeper Amon clinging to control while everything around him unraveled. In early seasons, Kody still managed to project the image of a confident, if chaotic, family patriarch. He claimed to love each of his wives equally, even as his choices told a different story. But as time passed, the cracks widened. Viewers watched as favoritism grew, especially toward Robyn, and Kody's role as a father and husband morphed into something more performative than sincere. His language changed with it. He no longer spoke like a partner or a spiritual guide. He spoke like a man obsessed with preserving his ego. He wasn't trying to lead, he was trying to win. One moment that perfectly captured Kody's crumbling grasp on his family came when he declared to his wives in a heated discussion, "I'm the general. No matter how stupid I am, I'm the president." It was a jaw-dropping admission, not because it was humble, but because it showed how deeply Kody had confused leadership with authority. He didn't need respect. He didn't want consensus. He just wanted control, and he was willing to admit outright that intelligence or fairness weren't requirements for his power. In that moment, he wasn't a husband. He was a dictator in denial, standing over a kingdom already in ruins. Over the years, Kody's inability to accept blame became a defining feature of his personality. In one particularly cruel exchange with Mary, he revealed just how far he had drifted from empathy. When Mary asked him about the emotional distance in their marriage, hoping for an honest conversation about their disconnection, Kody coldly responded, "Blame yourself if I don't love you." It was more than shocking, it was vicious. For a man who once claimed to love all his wives equally, to turn around and tell Mary that his lack of affection was her fault, stunned viewers and critics alike. This wasn't about the infamous catfishing scandal anymore. It wasn't about forgiveness or healing. It was about Kody rewriting the past to serve his current narrative that he was the victim. The misunderstood husband who tried his best while the women in his life simply failed him. It didn't matter that Mary had apologized. It didn't matter that she stayed through the shame and the silence. Kody had made up his mind, and there was no space left for compassion. The message was clear. If you're not Robyn, you're not worth fighting for. Perhaps one of the most grotesque moments in recent Sister Wives history was when Kody, while discussing his divorce from Mary, told her with a straight face, "Boy, Mary, our breakup sure was hard on Robyn." Fans recoiled. Mary looked stunned. Was one of the most tone-deaf, emotionally vacant statements Kody had ever made. The woman sitting across from him had been his partner for decades. She had helped build the family, raise the children, survive the hard years, and now, at the end of it all, her pain was barely a footnote to Kody. Robyn's grief, not Mary's, was what Kody centered. If Mary's exit was just another burden Robyn had to bear, not a traumatic loss for Mary herself. In that moment, any doubt about Kody's priorities vanished. He wasn't concerned with the wives who had built his empire. He was only concerned with preserving Robyn's comfort. The entire concept of plural marriage, once sacred, once publicized as a spiritual calling, had been gutted, left as a smokescreen for monogamous favoritism and manipulation. Kody had become a man who spoke in bizarre metaphors, quoted himself like a martyr, and refused to own even a sliver of blame for the emotional wreckage around him. Even as his family disintegrated, Kody continued to speak with a confidence that bordered on delusion. He projected a version of himself that he clearly believed in, but which few others recognized. He called himself a leader, even as his children stopped speaking to him, claimed he was misunderstood, even as wife after wife walked away. And through it all, he continued to say things that baffled fans, lines that went viral. Not because they were insightful, but because they were so. shockingly disconnected from reality. In interviews and confessionals, Kody's tone often oscillated between self-pity and grandiosity. He described himself as persecuted, betrayed, outnumbered. He once claimed, "I'm the only person in this family who's been holding it all." Together, that line sent social media into a frenzy. Fans flooded the comments asking, what about Christine, who raised 13 kids? What about Janelle, who worked nonstop to support everyone? What about Mary, who clung to hope even when she was treated like a stranger? Kody had erased them all from the story and replaced them with his own mythology. Even his children began to pull away. Garrison, Gabe, and others became increasingly vocal about their hurt and alienation. Garrison, before his tragic death, had openly expressed his disappointment in Kody's absence and favoritism. The once vibrant, chaotic Brown family was now a fractured memory, with Kody left holding a version of fatherhood that didn't reflect the truth. And yet, he continued to perform for the cameras, insisting he was doing his best while blaming everyone else for the fallout. It's hard to tell whether Kody truly believes his own narrative, or if he's simply too far gone to see what he's become. His words, once filled with spiritual intention, now serve only to protect his ego, and Robyn, always nearby, seems to support it. She defends him. She explains away the pain. She weeps on cue. To fans, it feels rehearsed. It's a decades-long performance to crown herself the one true wife, and Kody the misunderstood hero who only wanted peace but never got the loyalty he deserved. Kody Brown's most memorable lines will live on, not because they were wise or profound, but because they were so revealing. They exposed a man more interested in power than partnership, in control than compassion. And now, as he clings to what's left, his words are all he has. But words, especially when twisted and weaponized, can only protect you for so long. Kody Brown has always had a strange way with words, a manner of speaking that's as confusing as it is revealing. As the father of 18 children, one might expect him to be a pillar of wisdom and guidance. But Kody has often left his family more bewildered than supported, whether he's trying to sound poetic or simply talking himself in circles. His quotes have become infamous not because they're profound, but because they often expose the deep emotional disconnect between him and the people who once trusted him most. One of the more gut-wrenching things about Kody is how he talks about his children. "I've got such smart kids. I'm a bonehead," he once said, attempting to compliment his children's intelligence. But even in that moment, it wasn't about them, it was about him. The backhanded self-deprecation painted a clear picture. Kody saw himself as separate from them, somehow removed from the brilliance he was pointing out. And maybe deep down, he knew they were smart enough to see through the image he'd carefully built over decades. As the years passed, Kody's relationships with his children fractured. In the early seasons, viewers saw him try to be involved, showing up for milestones, laughing during family games, and playing the part of the doting father. But by the time the COVID-19 pandemic hit, those memories felt like a distant illusion. Instead of rallying the family and leading with empathy, Kody doubled down on control. He issued strict rules that felt arbitrary and uneven. He stayed full-time with Robyn and their kids, while the rest of the family was expected to comply with protocols that felt more like punishments than safety measures. During one episode, he drew literal boundaries around his house, saying, "My living room, my kitchen," as if they were fortresses. It was no longer about family unity. It was about ownership. The message was clear. Unless you were part of Robyn's household, you were on the outside. Fans watched in disbelief as Kody alienated more and more of his children. The pandemic became the tipping point, not just for the wives, but for the next generation. Garrison and Gabe, among others, felt abandoned, unseen, discarded. They voiced their frustrations. They pulled away. And Kody, he responded with confusion, claiming he was being misunderstood again, as if the hurt he caused was just a byproduct of everyone else's sensitivity. But Kody's language didn't just falter. In tense moments, it collapsed entirely. "I'm sprouting poetry," he once declared, trying to describe his own flair for words. He likely meant spouting, but the blunder was too perfect to ignore. He wanted to be a wordsmith, a communicator, a man with gravitas. Instead, he was creating a collection of phrases that didn't mean much except to reveal how desperate he was to seem like the man in control. And then there was the moment he described his frustration over Christine's departure as circling the donkey. Fans were quick to point out he probably meant circling the drain, a metaphor for something spiraling downward. Fata, phrase he chose, bizarre and oddly symbolic. Unintentionally summed up his journey, endlessly circling a problem he refuses to understand. Christine's decision to leave was a turning point, not just for their marriage, but for the entire family. And instead of reflecting on what he could have done differently, Kody spun metaphors and accusations as if colorful language could protect him from accountability. The bitterness didn't stop there. In a deeply revealing moment, Kody referred to Christine as Machiavellian, a word used to describe someone who is cunning, manipulative, and ruthless in the pursuit of power. Coming from a man who has spent years emotionally controlling his wives and redirecting blame onto others, the irony was hard to miss. Kody accused Christine of manipulating the other wives, of pulling strings behind the scenes to turn them against him. But fans had been watching all along. They saw Christine break down on camera. They saw her try again and again to be heard, to be seen, to be loved. What Kody saw as manipulation, others recognized as a woman finally standing up for herself. Still, he couldn't stop talking about her. Even as he shared a monogamous life with Robyn, it was Christine who haunted his thoughts. He used words like culpable again and again, trying to spread the blame for the end of their marriage. But the repetition made his intention clear. He didn't want to share responsibility. He wanted to offload it entirely. Christine wasn't just gone. She had become the symbol of everything that went wrong in his life. And instead of grieving the loss of love, Kody turned to accusations and rewrites of history. In one of the more tense and awkward scenes with Mary, Kody delivered yet another infamous line. "Mary, you look like the bird that ate the mouse." No one was sure what he meant exactly. Maybe he was calling her guilty. Maybe he thought it was clever. But what viewers saw was a man using cryptic language to deflect from his own dishonesty. The years of silence, gaslighting, and emotional abandonment weren't up for discussion. Instead, Kody turned the spotlight back on Mary's supposed secrets, all while ignoring the many he carried himself. Their relationship has been a strange one. Even after the emotional divorce and years of separation, Kody and Mary sometimes seemed closer than before, then suddenly distant again. It was a dance of unresolved pain, mixed with the occasional glimpse of what might have been. But nothing ever truly healed. Not because Mary didn't want it, but because Kody never truly showed up. He blamed, he judged. He delivered metaphors instead of apologies. And now, as Mary tries to rebuild, she's still haunted by the memory of a man who saw her as a problem long before he saw her as a partner. Through all of it, every quote, every misstep, every metaphor that didn't land one thing has remained consistent. Kody Brown refuses to take ownership of the destruction he helped create. Whether it's claiming his children abandoned him, accusing Christine of plotting a rebellion, or worrying more about Robyn's feelings than anyone else's, Kody has crafted a reality where he's the misunderstood hero, surrounded by enemies who just didn't get it. But the fans get it. They've watched for 19 seasons. They've seen the tears, the silence, the empty chairs at family meetings. They've watched the slow exodus of wives who finally realized they were worth more than shared grief and broken promises. And as Kody spirals deeper into a web of his own making, even his words can't save him anymore.